time, a little less than 3 years. So, to be building an agency while selling at a very high level is pretty important and impressive. But, Steve, we used to do these, but we used to do them not on video. We used to do them on calls. And you came on and did yours probably in, early 2019. So we wanted to update this, my brother. And since your story has expanded by so much in the last couple years, we'd love to update it anyway. But it's a pleasure having you on, buddy. How you doing, brother?
I'm great, bro. I really appreciate you having me. And I remember doing that first one. I think I was at a Panera somewhere, like trying to figure out what I was doing, and had no clue at the time. So it's nice to update.
Think about that, at a Panera. Just the idea that you were at a Panera instead of an office, but to especially with you having just opened your office. But we'll get into all of that. Steve, what we like to do with this podcast is go down memory lane. Talk about the stuff that's kind of reared you, shaped you, molded you into the man you are today, and then we'll get into some stuff with your current state. But I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really just interesting as you look back on the journey of life. I grew up in Long Island, New York, and had two very good parents who I think raised me the right way, Christian way. My dad, he worked very, very hard as a heavy equipment operator in Long Island, which was a great career. And he was the type of guy like no days off type of mentality. And I think that's where I first got that and that work ethic. And my mom, same thing. My mom had a business for a while. So both just good, hardworking people. I played a little bit of sports in high school, basketball, football, enjoyed the structure. And then as I became, going into my last couple of years of high school, I got into working, and I just said, hey, I want to work. I want to, make money. I want to be able to buy a car and things of that nature. So I got into the restaurant industry.
Got it.
And at the time it was about, I wanted to be a chef, and I've always had a passion for cooking, as you know, you do as well. So I was working, 2 jobs, going to college, working in a catering hall, working in a hotel. I pretty much started just doing everything in all the different facets of hospitality, and got into cooking, went to culinary school. And then as I was kind of through my second year of culinary school, I was like, okay, I think I want to get into management, because I like that a little bit better. I like that side of things, So then got into, Darden Restaurants and Red Lobster, and was working, management there, kind of worked my way up. That's where we met.
No doubt.
Through my ex-wife, ironically enough, which is just funny. Things happen in life for a reason.
No doubt.
We'll talk about. But, with that industry and that company, great company, it was just, you had to move. So I made a decision to leave Long Island in 2011, got a promotion, moved to Pennsylvania. And then from there, it was chasing that promotion, and chasing it meant, really being able to move. So then that took me Tennessee, which I liked, good place. But I got to a point where I just felt like just kind of stifled in what I was doing, and just was really, really looking for more, knew there was more out there, but I don't know, call it I wasn't smart enough, didn't have the right vehicle, but I just didn't know what I didn't know. And then I started really looking at business, and I'm like, okay, like obviously you're in a business that's a great business, and business, you have a business background and degree, but you got to find the right business that you're going to be able to make passive income. And I just didn't know.
Now, where'd you learn about the concept of passive income? Say that again.
I started just seeing people that were not, like, I knew how to work hard because I was brought up that way. But then I started seeing people that were making money and not like grinding it out day in and day out. And they were actually able to get to a certain level income wise.
Got it.
And I was like, I need that vehicle in my life, So, I'm in Tennessee, 2015. I think me and you were talking one day just about football, whatever it was. and I had an inkling for insurance, but I wasn't ready to go there yet. Because like, again, I wasn't ready to jump,
right,
like a lot of people. And I had met someone there who was selling insurance. He was trying to recruit me, got a policy with him, and it just wasn't the right setup. There was no leads, comp was low, whatever. So then, unfortunately, in Tennessee, went through a divorce. And the interesting thing of life and the adversities that we face is every time I faced one, it's always made me better. But at the time, you never see that.
Sure,
everybody
absolutely.
sees, right? So that was a tough thing to deal with, and it was just very tough mentally and emotionally. But I knew this. I knew at that point I wasn't going to go back to New York because I felt like I'd be going backwards because I'd moved away and kind of experienced different things, and I always wanted to live in Florida. So I said, all right, I'm going to go to Florida. Started looking for jobs here. Got into, again, a hospitality situation, worked at a hospital, which is a little bit different, a little bit more 9 to 5-ish, which was good at the time. And I was able to kind of have a new beginning when I came down here because I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know anybody. And then that was good. It was good for probably the, whatever, year and a half. And then it kind of just became where it was you felt like a lot of people like I worked with there, they weren't hospitality people.
Got it.
And I was one. So I was like, it wasn't aligning, and I knew it was short term. I also knew there wasn't a lot of room for growth. And that was something that I had always strived for. So then, me and you started talking about the FFL opportunity and kind of jumped into that. And I was trepidatious at the time, like I was nervous to do it. Started it off part-time. Got I think I got my license in like September, spoke with you a lot, and then didn't really get going till full-time until a couple months later.
This is 2018, right?
Yeah, end of 2018. Yeah.
Got it.
And what's interesting about it is like I was making probably about a little over $100,000. And I remember having a conversation with you one day, and you're like, I had a bonus coming. It was like a yearly bonus. It was like $5,000 or something. And you laughed. You're like, bro, you're going to make that like on Tuesday. and I was like, you're out of your mind. I was like, how is that going to happen? But I didn't really question it. I was like, okay. Like, and I just did it. And I just remember like, and anybody who's jumping into this, that back against the wall mentality, like I made $100,000, have a home, have bills, have responsibilities like everybody else.
Right.
I needed to replace that income. Like there was no two ways about it.
Right.
So I was going to do whatever it took. We, always talk about time versus money. I didn't have a lot of money at the time, but I had a lot of time. So I knew that I was going to be able to put in the time to make the money, and just follow the system. And I mean, look, where we were then to where we are now from a company perspective, I mean, good Lord, it's completely changed, like overnight, in a couple of years. So it was a blessing, and it just goes back to all the adversities you face. If you can just embrace them and understand that they're for the better good, like there's a plan, like the Lord has a plan for all of us.
No doubt.
I mean, we're both religious people, whether you are or aren't. There's a plan for you.
No doubt.
And you might not see it. I did not see it when I was in Tennessee. I didn't. And I went through the divorce. I did not see it at all. But I knew this. I knew that I was always going to keep going. It wasn't going to quit. So I knew that much.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of trials and tribulations in life get you to where you're going to be, right? And you can't have a testimony without the test. People hear that a lot, but I think at the end of the day, for you, for us, for anybody, it's the things that we go through that have an adverse effect on what we want is that makes us the people that we are. So essentially that's what you're saying. But, and I appreciate that. I think there's some things I want to touch on. Now, you grew up, I know you have a brother. Is it just you and your brother, or did you have other siblings?
Yeah, just me and my brother.
Okay.
Younger brother.
And he was younger. Okay, got it. And getting to know your mom a little more. We call her Mama G, but getting to know Mama G a little bit more, and seeing her at your grand opening. What did she instill? What were some things that she put in you, value-wise, that also helped shape this story?
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. It's interesting. My dad was kind of on the hard work and work ethic side. My mom was on the business minded side, but we grew up in a Christian household. So very big on right and wrong, how we treat people in life, all the things that, you want to go back to and lean on as values. We're always forefront, like she would be a disciplinarian type of a mom, and my dad as well. They weren't going to allow us to not be quote unquote good people and do the wrong thing. Wasn't going to allow, always had a curfew. Like there was just these little things that throughout life. And it actually got to a point where as we got older, we made mistakes. Don't get me wrong. We all do, but there was never like things were like curfews or things like that were always like pounded on, because we never really needed it, because we always kind of knew what was right and what was wrong. We kind of knew where we should be going, where we shouldn't be going, who we should be hanging out with. So she was big also on the people we were around, like friends and stuff like that. If she sniffed out that they were not the right type of person, she was going to say, you're not going to, associate with that person. And that stuck with me a lot.
Wow.
And I take it, it's big. Like I didn't think about this business, like we talk about, being around people that are, we'll call it top producers or whatever. They all have great values and characteristics and things of that nature. And that's something that was instilled by her at a young age.
Very interesting. Now, again, you're still, a young age, you become a teenager, you have your own mindset, the things you want to do. How did she control who you hung around? Real talk.
She's an Italian mother. That's all. I think it was one of those things where she would kind of make it like, hey, this person here, they don't have these same values that we have, and can you understand it? So she kind of got like the buy-in, like she played the game, of course, a little bit. And I think we just from over time and years, it was like, yeah, I can feel that doesn't feel right. I can feel if someone that's, talking about drugs when we're not doing drugs, or drinker, like I can see where that's not going to take us down the right path.
Got it.
So I think that was big, because I feel like she instilled in us what we wanted out of life. And if you saw people that didn't want the same, what's the point of associating with those type of people?
No doubt. And a couple things that I noticed from your social feed, also from what I know about you, is you're a huge wrestling fan, even to this day, which is like, wow. Because I was a huge. You and I are similarly aged, and I was a huge wrestling fan growing up. But the fact that you took it to the age you are now is different, and I want to hear about that. And then we're both huge Dolphin fans, and I know. But you're from New York, and I want to know how that came about.
All right. So, yeah, the wrestling thing, my dad was a big wrestling fan, Bruno Sammartino, when I was growing up. And I think a lot of it with it, and obviously it's, it's a show. I think a lot of it was guys in good shape, kind of the way that they, the characters that you like that are heroes that you almost want to mold yourself. So it's just something that I've always kind of taken. I've always tried to take something out of everything and look at it like I'll give you an example, like Vince McMahon being the person who runs the company. The way, like I've done a lot of learning of him and the way he runs his company, the things that he's done, the way that he's built it. And then you have, the times where, it's just fun and it's like a movie and you just kind of get lost in it and you want to, suspend reality, we'll call it.
Right.
And then, with the Dolphins, I remember being 7 years old and just one day watching Marino versus the Bills back when they actually won games. It was great. And I was like, I'm going to be a Dolphin fan. And my dad was he started a Giants fan, then he somehow became a Cowboy fan because my brother did. It was very weird. But I just rode with that forever. And I think I'm also the type of person, like I'm a loyal person, so I'm never going to change, even though they've tested me over the years. So I think that was a big thing, and I just rode with it.
Makes sense. No, I get it. It was Marino for me too, so that's awesome. And, even now I get it. The pain of the Dolphins is something different. I just can't anymore. I'm trying, actually. It's crazy. But anyway, so let's transition back to where you kind of dropped the story off, which is, your FFL career, where you are now. Some of the things. What are some things that helped you evolve here at Family First? What are some of the things that keep your motor going the way it goes to issue the amount of business that you issue while building a team? What are some things that you see there that have, because again, those things have also helped shape this story?
Yeah, totally. I think for me, I've always looked at this going back to when I started, like back against the wall. I'm more excited or motivated, we'll call it, by the fear of loss than the desire for gain type of a thing. And I almost feel like every day it's like someone's taking it from you, number one. And then number two, how do we get better? I think every single day, if you're doing this, really, if you're doing anything, how do I get better at it? Like there's plenty of days. I honestly look at myself most of the time more as, and maybe failure or failing is the wrong word, but like I'll look at it that way because I'm like, I need to be better every single day to be able to take myself to where I want to be. From personal production, I think it was, all right, like I'm not going to overcomplicate this. And I'm just going to buy a lot of leads, follow the system, get good on the phone, get good in the house, and then just go at it with like a reckless abandon,
right?
In helping people. And now it's it's the same thing in the side of building. It's how do I leverage all of the people that do this at a high level, learn from those people, to become a better leader every single day and a better manager. Because if you're not getting better, you're either getting better or you're going backwards, in my opinion. And you should never look at things like, I don't care how much you write or what you do or whatever, you have to be better every single day. Because trust me, there's mistakes and things that everybody leaves on the table that if they were getting better, they probably wouldn't. And I just think you have to have that attitude every day.
Yeah, I mean, very interesting. I agree 100%. Are you evaluating yourself every day, though? When you say get better every day, that sounds crazy intentional. How are you evaluating every day?
I feel most days like there's always something that I could be doing better. And I always mentally, it's funny, I'll say this to myself, and I was saying it to a couple of new agents last week. I'm like, I always like have to reset my brain. Like if I struggle in the field a couple days, I'm like, okay, we got to reset and get back to fundamentals. I'm a big guy on fundamentals. I think it's like a sports thing too. If you're struggling, you're probably struggling because somewhere along the line, you stop focusing on fundamentals and maybe you just made things a little bit too big or too broad for yourself.
That's good.
Bring it down to the lowest common denominator of what makes the day-to-day tick. And the same thing goes with the side of building. It's like, hey, I should talk to more agents. I should call more agents. I should, you know what I mean? Like there's little things that you need to do every day. And that's my self-evaluation. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the self-evaluation is around results. We're a results-oriented culture and business and company. Even when my results are good, I never make it feel like, oh, we've arrived. Personal production or team production, because you haven't arrived. Trust me, you'll know when you arrived. And even then, you probably still haven't arrived.
That's facts.
And you have to just keep striving for more, because I think when you do, you'll be winning along the line. But if mentally you're like, I need to get better, you're like, okay, I'm going to be getting better, and then I will be winning along the way.
Yeah, I want this question it seems silly that I'm going to ask you this, but I think I'm very interested in your answer just from a standpoint of where you are. And I ask most people the question on this call, why FFL?
Yeah. I mean, this is the best opportunity to build a business probably in America. I think that's probably proven through a pandemic, through where we've come. I mean, just in my 3 years, what we've done for so many people's lives, the fact that really anybody can do it, the fact that there's not like this, you have to go have a college degree to do it. It's, hey, I can go get a license, which anybody can do literally within a couple days.
Right.
And then I can get some leads and I can go out and I can go meet people that need things that we're offering. This is the best opportunity anywhere for anybody, as long as you're willing to give it everything that it takes. Right. If you're not, it's going to be very hard. But if you are, it's going to come a lot easier to you. You're going to make, you're going to make a business very easy for yourself, or a lot easier than it needs to be, just by following the simple system.
No doubt. And when you look at your goals, some of the goals that you've outlined with your family and some of the things you've looked at for your future, even today, how do you see FFL being the vehicle that gets you there?
Yeah, I mean, number one, we're in the right vehicle, that's for sure. And what's interesting is I knew how to work hard all those years, but I just wasn't in the right vehicle. And right. And the bottom line is that's where it begins. Then you obviously have to have the sweat equity and the work and everything else behind it, and you got to go after it. But this aligns with the vision, because this is creating for my family. It's not about money, but it's about the fact that, like, my wife now, who we both had jobs when I started, doing pretty well. Now she can be home with Dominic. She can help work in the business, which she enjoys and likes.
Right.
And it creates where she can raise our son. Whereas if we weren't in this opportunity, we would both be working jobs, and honestly, it would be crazy stressful and hard. And I give parents a lot of credit where both parents work that way, because that's a challenge. I mean, she worked in dermatology sales, and she would probably travel a couple times a month, and she drove a lot. So it would be a very different life.
No doubt.
If we didn't have this opportunity. And I think that just aligns with what we're looking to do, because now as he's getting older, we're going to be able to have more time, to buy the time back, to be able to do things for him that we definitely would not have been able to do previously.
No doubt. Last question. How difficult was it to part, with Margot's job, or was it was it a no-brainer? Was it difficult? How did that shape out?
It was definitely easy, and there were certain circumstances with the pandemic and all that stuff that came about. But again, it's one of those things where, in life, things were set in stone and set up for a reason. But it definitely was not a hey, oh my God, we got to think about this, and we're gonna, you know what I mean. It was definitely not that, because we saw what this was doing for us, and we were like, all right, well, let's just keep pouring into it and take it to the next level.
Yeah, 100%. You guys are killing it. Your goals for 2021 NCAP?
We have to be at 1.1 million by the end of December, because I write about 100, so we're going 1 million outside of me. Come hell or high water, we have to do that.
Love it.
So be an overboard member, and then just really taking it from there. I'd say senior board member by midway through the year next year, and on our road to integrity. And we're working each and every day, new office, new staff. Giving every ounce of blood, sweat, and tears we have to get there, and that's what it's going to take.
I love it.
If you want uncommon results, you need uncommon action.
No doubt. You said that from day one. You said, look, I can't expect to make, $500,000 a year and put in the same work ethic I was putting in when I was making 100. I mean, that was day one. You were never confused by that. And obviously you're a living walking epistle of that. So I appreciate you, buddy, more than you know. Thank you for joining us. Family First Life Health and Wealth, Steve Giordano, killing it on his way to $1.5 million personal, 1.1 as a team for 2021. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for sharing your story with us.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
All right, everybody, have a great week. Let's make it happen. Continue to slam records. God bless. Thanks, Steve.